Hey folks, I'm here. Give me a couple of seconds here. Just a couple of seconds. Oh boy. Oh boy, how about that? Exciting times. This is Debbie. Debbie, come over here, love. Debbie, sweet girl, you want to come say hi? How's everybody doing? The lighting is not ideal. I am in the shop. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm doing a couple of things to try to make a couple of adjustments. I need a couple more seconds. The reason I started the live early is because I wanted y'all to see Debbie and Carl, who are both hanging out here in the yard. Debbie just came right inside. Debbie's like, you know what? I'm just going to go be a part of this live. He's going to talk about us anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure he's careful what he says about my man. And if you're a woman, I hope that you are also equally vigilant when someone starts talking about your man. You can talk about your man all you want to, but ain't no one else got the right to talk about your man. And that goes for your children as well. You can talk about your kids all you want, but if anyone else talks about your kids, yeah, all hell's about to unleash. And that's how it is with Debbie's being very cautious. Okay, so a couple of minutes ago, I uploaded the video to all platforms, and I made sure that I put on the thumbnail, in the title, and the description, adult content. I said strong language. I said mature audiences only. So if you're the kind of person who is still upset about that, you had 3 chances to leave the video, yet you chose to watch anyway just to be mean to me. I'm not offended. I have already apologized for the things that I say when I lose control and when I lose my filter. And there's not a one of you out there that hasn't been caught off guard at a moment's notice, without a moment's notice, who has not also been a little bit embarrassed about the things that might come out of your mouth. So this is not a kids channel. None of the Longhorn Lester, I'm a Survivor Sanctuary. No, we are 18 and older. And I promise you, anyone who's 18 and older, anyone who's 5 and older has heard words. And anybody who has had a moment where they've been caught off guard has to understand that sometimes you don't always have time to think about what you're saying. Oh, fudge is what happens on TV. I doubt that's what happens in real life. Anyway, today we are going to start off the live talking about an incident that happened this week, which was Monday. And even today, which is Friday, I am still reeling from all that transpired. I'm going to turn the fan a little bit lower. I don't know if anyone is having issues. I really can't read as fast as you guys can type, but I did put a fan blowing on me. I'm out in the shop. It's a very humid day. It's about 90 degrees, but we've had some rain, so it's super humid. And I'm going to turn that fan 1 notch lower just to make sure I can hear and we can communicate back and forth. So give me 1 moment. I don't know if that really made a difference or not, but it helps having the air blow on me. So thank y'all for being patient with me. I've never claimed to be perfect. I'll tell you what, I have never, ever, ever claimed to know what I'm doing in all farm situations. And as a matter of fact, I've told you guys a number of times that I have a lot of imperfections. And if you're looking for a perfect channel who knows every farm trick, who can teach you ways to manage and maintain your farm or your ranch or your garden or whatever you want, I'm not that page. I am not that page. I'm a real man who has a real passion for the animals who we bring in as rescues. And sometimes not all animals are as easy as others. And so there are some that can be quite dangerous. And everyone knows that we have, well, obviously, all of the longhorns, once they get to a certain age and them, horns stretch out there with them tips, they can be very dangerous. Now, obviously, we love our babies and we hope that we have made, help you to fall in love with them as well. And despite the dangers, they're still our babies. And so we try to be cautious and we try to be aware. We keep our heads on a swivel, as they say, always preparing for the unexpected. Now, have we been caught off guard? Many times. Have we been caught off guard? I repeat a lot of words because that's the teacher in me. Yes, we have been caught off guard a number of times. But I made a compilation video of the 4 Carl moments that were caught on camera. There was actually a 5th moment where Carl also jumped on my older son, L.E., which was not recorded. But Carl, it was a similar incident that happened to Jake. L.E. was not paying attention. He was out in the pasture making a regular animal video, and Carl came out of nowhere. Ellie had no time to run, and so Carl come up with his chest and bumped Ellie over and kicked him. After Ellie had fallen, Carl came by and kicked him, not attempting to gore or disembowel, but he just come by and kicked him. And so there have actually been 5 Carl incidents, and since we've had Carl for a year. And now I will also, before I get really into the gist of the video, I want to remind you all that Carl is a rescue. Carl, when we got Carl, for those who had been around for a while, Carl had been being beat up on a regular basis by a much larger male ostrich. They were having a feud over a female, and the larger of the ostrich had pretty much plucked all of the feathers from Carl. And so it was cute, and I love him so much. But when we got Carl, he looked like a turkey getting prepared for a Thanksgiving meal. He'd been plucked. Most of his feathers had been pulled out. And for you guys who know about bird behavior, that's what the males, the roosters, will do to each other as a way to demasculate. They try to make themselves look better by demasculating the other birds, the other males. And so if I get bit in the ear here, that's going to be so embarrassing. And that is Wanda. That would be my pecker. So y'all have to, anyway, she's a sweet girl. I see that Eddie's family farm is here. I saw Eddie got bit in the finger trying to feed his babies tomatoes yesterday. So Brandon, I saw that reel, and I'm sorry, brother. I know that hurts, but I laughed my behind off. Anyway, so if you have not been able to catch the videos and the different incidents with Carl, then I did post that on all of the platforms. It's a short video. It's not monetized. We're not trying to make any money out of it, but I did want to preface this live talking about Carl, the incidents, and how every single time it was because of us, the stupid humans. As my friend Rick says, it was our fault. And we really are learning, and we've come so very far since we've gotten Carl, and we've learned a lot about all of the babies. But in reality, anybody who works around animals, be it ostriches like we work with, or if it's cows or horses or dogs. Guys, there's always a potential risk. I mean, I can't say, but most people have startled their pet and maybe had been snipped at. Maybe a child, your baby, one of your children have been bitten by a dog only because they startled the animal. And so there are things that we have to be aware of. And so, yes, Carl is a dangerous animal, but pit bulls are also dangerous animals. And it doesn't mean that we love them any less. It means we probably should be a little bit more cautious than what we have been. Yesterday, my friend Rick Gore, who runs a channel on YouTube, Think Like a Horse. What Rick does for his video content is he's the master of taking scenarios, things that have happened on videos, and he can break them down. Rick has the software to be able to go frame by frame by frame, and he can really break down a video. And so Rick has taken several of our videos and broken them down. Jamie and I have learned tons from Rick. And Rick is always right, y'all. As much as a lot of folks may not like Rick for his mannerism or the way he talks, because Rick can also curse like a sailor. I mean, he's a former law enforcement, I believe, former military. And so you do learn over time that when in heightened situations, you don't always have that same filter that we would like to. That's not how we want to be remembered. Having a foul mouth is not how we want you all to recognize us. We want you to love us for who we are on the inside, not for those occasional words that find themselves flowing out when you find yourselves in a heightened situation, which is what happened on most of these videos with Carl. What I liked about Rick's video, yesterday's video, is the way Rick broke it down. Now, of course, Rick has a lot of humor to add. Rick has his own creativity when he makes a video. But as Rick was breaking down the video step by step, it intrigued me how closely your body language in an incident when you have an animal attack matches up to folks who have gone through a true life and death experience, like you might see in a battle or in a gunfight if you were a police officer and you have a hostage situation. And so people go through different. Your body is an amazing tool, and that has learned to figure out ways to help you cope and survive. And it was beautiful seeing Rick break it down, my reactions and the way what my body did naturally, not because I'm a smart guy, because I'm not a smart guy. If I was smart, I'd probably have little poodles or something and raise little sweet kittens and puppies. But no, we've taken on a rescue to be able to help farm animals that are in need of a forever home. And that's what we do. And so we were very blessed when we were reached out and offered Carl, not truly knowing what we were getting into. But at this point, we've learned to love Carl. We've learned to respect Carl. And Carl has made himself a big part of our pages and a big part of our lives. The same way you can have a partner or a child or a friend that can sometimes have some quirks about them that you may not always find appealing, Carl has some things about him that we have to be very careful about. But in saying so, I refer back to the stupid human here. Every single time that Carl has gone on the offensive, it was actually because something that we had done to provoke that, but without realizing it. We've just been very ignorant. And so we, in this most recent incident, I've already talked about this before. We talked a little bit about how I was mowing the grass that morning, and I was mowing right alongside Carl's pasture. Once I finished the mowing, I let Carl out of the pasture along with his family, and I began to do some other yard jobs, one of which was using the spreader. The hand spreader is one that you push around, And so what Rick did was something that I never thought of. Carl, in his mind, when he heard that strange noise he never heard, he might have already been a little bit aggravated or on edge because of the lawnmower going back and forth and back and forth. But then when he sees Lester, who came out pushing this machine, making this god-awful noise to him, one that was very annoying to him, it was more than he could handle. Carl says, there's my family, there's my ladies, there's my children, and this thing that is somehow connected to me because we've become one. It's like a transformer. We've become one. And here I come out of the barn making my video, and this machine throwing stuff around, spitting, if you will, and it scared Carl. And so what does an animal, even a human, do when his family is at risk, when he finds his family in danger? We react. We become very defensive. And so there's not a woman or a man over on this page right now who can say that if you saw something that scared you coming towards your family, you would become a Carl and you would try to do whatever you could to remove that. And so that's what Carl did on that particular day. My reaction to Carl was really just my body's way of kicking in without my mind ever realizing what I was doing, trying to find a way to survive that particular, I hate to say attack, because I'm just going to call it an incident. And so Rick broke it down with his years in law enforcement. He talked a whole lot about different things that your body goes into, because I believe that most of you all were just as equally shocked that how did Lester, a 200-pound man with one arm, bring Carl to the ground? And which is what I had to do. That was the only way to survive being not being ripped in half. And so I can't explain it as better than Rick did. So I've asked Rick to join us today. Rick is unable to. I really wanted to have him jump in, split the screen, and have Rick talk and share some things that he had learned over the years, but not just in law enforcement, but working with animals. And it was just really mind-blowing to hear the things that Rick was saying yesterday, how the eyes will get tunnel vision, and you lose your peripheral vision. All you see is the threat that's right in front of you. The way all of your body enters, the inners of your body, you have this amazing release of adrenaline, which is the way how sometimes Rick said men can somehow lift up cars when they've fallen on their children and do things that the human body is normally incapable of doing from that rush, that force of adrenaline that you get. So all of those things happen. And what's interesting is, even though there were no injuries in that particular incident with Carl, there was all kinds of soreness, places where I didn't think I'd gotten bumped or hit. But Rick was explaining how with all of that adrenaline shooting down through all of the muscles that I needed to do what I had to do in that particular incident, it was more than what my old body could really handle, which is why I've been so sore all week long. Sore, like, your big muscle groups are just sore. But we don't hold Carl to blame for any of this. What I did was I was not thinking about what was going to trigger Carl. And so we've gotten past that. Oh, I have a sweet little girl who wants to say hi to you all. Baby, you want to talk? You want to talk? So our routine around the sanctuary has not changed at all. The only thing that has changed is that I've reminded Jamie that we're going to have to be more aware of what's going on, because an animal is going to usually give you some kind of a sign. They're going to let you know if there's something that they're a little bit bothered by, or if there's something that's triggering their insides and they're becoming aggravated over things. We don't have mean animals here, but we do have animals that react. And so Carl's reaction was the things that I had done that particular day. I'm very blessed to have come out of that unscathed, besides the soreness. Rick, in his breakdown, he was able to go frame by frame by frame And it's really crazy seeing in a frame by frame in super slow motion how close you were, how you really should count your blessings. Because I would think the scariest moment was when we finally got Carl on the ground, and Carl's his last ditched effort to free himself was to take his one foot, which has that 6-inch talon, and come right towards my face and neck. And Rick kind of like measured off how close he was to coming right through there. And everyone knows what the outcome of that would not have been nice. The outcome of that would not have been pretty. So yeah, we have to kind of wake ourselves up and snap ourselves out of it. Sometimes get out of making that video mode and figure out a way to make sure we don't put our animals in those kind of situations. It could happen to anybody. It could happen with any animals. You all may remember that my son Le was out making a video around the horses and donkeys not too long ago. I would say several months ago. And Dixie, we all love Dixie. That's Jamie's horse. Dixie come running by, and for no apparent reason, reached right out and kicked and just barely missed him. Le has played that video a couple of times, and he also claims that it was that moment when he became terrified of working with the larger animals. Le can work with goats, and he does all kinds of stuff with small animals, but Le doesn't like working with large animals. And I understand why. That was a very close call of a horse kick coming to the head. And guys, people die from horse kicks to the head. Le wasn't doing anything else than just, being out in the pasture, and the horses start playing. Something that Rick said, hey, and listen, I'm just trying to avoid a lot of the comments right now, but if you're someone who's come to the page just to be a jerk, you're not going to alter or change anything about the page. So you're really wasting your time. And guys, just go ahead and just ignore them. If they're bothering you, I don't have time I'm not going to take away from my live to go over here and start blocking particular people. I'll read through the comments later, and I'll block those that are being disrespectful or rude. But ultimately, remember that those people that are being disrespectful and rude are the ones that are demanding attention. And so if you will ignore them the way I'm ignoring them, they will go away. They will go away. They say a prayer for them. Yeah, just say a prayer for them. Don't start doing that. Just say a prayer for them. And, the internet truly is a place where you have free will. You have ultimate free will to go and watch any channel you want to. And if this channel here is not appealing to you, then there's tons of channels that thrive on debate. They thrive on negativity, and they get most of their content from the bantering back and forth in their comments. And believe it or not, Facebook and YouTube look at the comments when they decide if they're going to recommend a page. So the more you chit chat back and forth with me, the more I interact with you, the better. But even those negative Nancy's, those Karens, or as I say, those peepats, we have to kind of thank them, because you peepats are actually helping the page grow. Thank you, peepats. I got to move on from this, but I will say one last time, if you do want to check out Rick's page and see the analysis of the breakdown, the step-by-step, Rick has done that to many channels, and he's normally spot on. And it is a YouTube channel. It's called Think Like a Horse. And most of his videos deal with working around and with horses. But he will also take any video where he identifies something that went wrong, and he kind of will point out to you that, listen, this is a whole lot on you more than it was on the animal. And Rick's ultimate goal, and I love this about Rick's ultimate goal is to keep these babies safe. Because what happens, y'all, think about this for a minute. What happens when an animal attacks? The first thing that everyone wants to do is to put that animal down. Let's put him down. He's a threat to society. Let's put him down. But I'm going to tell you right now, Carl's not a threat to anybody. Carl is only a very good daddy and a protector And he exemplifies what every man and woman, family person should be. You protect and defend your family at all cost. And B. Carl was protecting his goats back when he used to be the leader of the goats, or if he's protecting his family here, he's only doing what we should all strive to do. Bristol Wilson, thank you for the super chat, but we're not going to do that. We don't ask for any money on these pages. We actually insist that you guys keep and use your money for yourself. We are living through hard times. And if times are not hard enough as it is, those are honeybees flying around my face. There's a couple of flies, but there's also honeybees. So be careful there. So yes, please take that money. You're very kind. You're very kind, along with the other folks who have sent money, but we ask you to please take that money and use it on yourself. And if you don't have a need, then save that money, because our country's about to hit a recession, I'm afraid, and you're going to probably need it. And so we'll take care of our bills on our end, and you guys make sure you take care of yourselves. We certainly appreciate it, but we want you to use that money for you. And if you just insist on paying a blessing forward, then I understand. But you can also pay that forward next time you go to the Starbucks to buy the coffee for the guy or the girl behind you, and give them a smile. Give them something to feel good about. Give an extra large tip to your server. And you can make people feel real good. But this channel, the Morrow Hill channels, do never want to be associated with asking or taking your money. We have been so blessed to have you as an audience, and we want you to use your money for you. And if you want to do something kind for us, then send me a letter, write me a letter, send me an email, give me a comment. And that's what really drives me in all of this. And so we appreciate you. I want to also go ahead and leave the Carl conversation. We've talked about 30 minutes about Carl. I know it's hard. You have all these babies behind me, and you want to keep talking about them because you love them so much. You want me to answer some questions, maybe. And so I get that. But before we do, I want to talk about something else that was placed on my heart. So I'm going to just completely turn and change directions here. And I want to talk about the conference that Jamie and I were invited to present at last weekend. Now, Jamie and I came back and talked a little bit about it on Sunday in our live, and we talked about what a blessing it was meeting between 70 and 75 video creators, some of which had very small channels, but they have big dreams. They small channels, but man, they dream big. And what I really, really love the most, she wants my glasses here. Just take them and be done with it. So I have 100 pair of those. Those are dollar store glasses. I'm blessed that my prescription is very easy, and so I have 100 pair of those. If she puts them on and comes back over here, that's going to be so funny. But listen to me. When we were at this conference, I was blessed to meet a lot of people. And a big part of going to a conference is, of course, we had some information, some knowledge that we have picked up and acquired over the years that we wanted to share. And there were also lots of people who have small pages who want to learn because there are, my friends, listen to me, there are tricks of the trade, and those tricks of the trade differ between different platforms. And if you don't know this already, Jamie and I have found our niche on the Facebook platform. We do our best on Facebook. So what's happening here, so now they're going around the garage and they are picking and nibbling and playing with everything that's set out. She has found our badminton game, which is what I play with Lex when he comes over. But so we went to share information. Folks who attended came to learn and to network with each other. And we left there after those couple of days, rubbing elbows, having lunch, eating dinner, right alongside other creators, remembering where we were a few years ago and trying to pay our blessing forward, because I will say this again, and please hear me when I say this. I'm not talking down to you when I do this. I'm not talking down, but I wanted to share with you a couple of numbers, which is just mind boggling. There are 50 million video creators trying to make a living in the social media platforms. Now, you heard that number correctly, 50 million. So how does it that only 1% of those make it? How is it that only 1% of those make it? Now, I don't know how many 1% is of 50 million. That's a pretty large number. Her face looks like she's about to do something. She is about to make y'all laugh, and I'm afraid it's probably going to be something to do with my ears. Y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. What I did was I got my ear protection. This was gifted to me from a very kind lady who did not want to see me develop cauliflower ear. And if you've ever seen that, it can be pretty, it can stand out. Let's just say that those folks who have that cauliflower ear can really stand out in the crowd. And I did not want to have cauliflower ear. And so she sent me these little ear muffs, which are great protection to cover my ears. So if they come up behind me and want to have a little nibble, guess what? They can't find nothing to nibble on. Maybe a little bit of neck fat, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Just not the ears. So where was I? I was talking about the video creators that we were able to meet. And in networking with these folks, Jamie and I exchanged information with a lot of folks. And we went back to our room on Friday night. And as a curiosity, I began to look up everybody who had given me a card, who had shaken hands, who I had met. And I would say that first night, I probably met 20 people or so who I actually talked to. And I found that there were a lot of different levels of creators there. But there was one creator that stood out to me. And guys, when I say they stood out to me, there's a number of ways that people can stand out to you. It's obviously we all know that there are some people we were drawn to and some people were drawn to us. But there was one creator that really stood out to me. And when I went and looked at her page and began to watch some of her videos, I realized real fast why she stood out to me. And I'm going to go ahead and say this, and it's because she is everything that I want to be. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, no, Lester, don't change who you are. No, Lester, we like you the way you are. And no, I'm not going to change who I am. But I've always tried to slow down and be able to find ways to articulate the things that are on my heart. I've always tried to make my videos therapeutic, not just to me, but also to you. I've tried to find ways to include life lessons, real life lessons that we can live and learn by. Sometimes the things that you can say in a video can help people who follow your page learn to cope with hardships that they're going through. And as I sat there that night and I found this one particular lady's channel, I literally fell in love with this creator. Now, I don't mean falling in love the way that we often associate it. I have a wonderful partner who I'm very happy with. But the lady's name is Anne. It's spelled A-N-N-E. Her last name is Dale, D-A-L-E. And so what she does is has Ann Dale's Homestead. And listen, as I watched her videos, I felt this conviction inside of my heart. I felt this conviction inside of my heart that here I am blessed to have the number of folks who follow the pages, and yet I don't feel like I'm doing enough justice. I'm not using my platform to do what my goal is, which is to help and to teach and to help you cope and make it and get by one step at a time. And I left that first night after watching those videos, and I told Jamie, I says, listen to me. I says, I like her. Jamie liked her. I talked to Jason. He and I hung out a lot that weekend, and we liked her. And so I made it a mission. I said, hold on a second. And I will cry. I will cry. I don't want to, but I can feel the emotions welling up inside of me now as I talk about you, because I felt such strong conviction inside of me, which is crazy. I know. Lester, you're at a conference to present. I hope you weren't being a baby. No, but what I was doing was learning the same way I might learn from Rick talking about working with animals. I was learning from watching a woman talking to her tomatoes. And I was able to take what she was saying and apply it to so many things in my life. And I realized that by me watching her videos, it's being therapeutic to me. And I'm like, wait a minute. I make videos. I should be the one who's offering some kind of therapy. I'm used to people emailing saying, Lester, thank you for the video. It helped me get through a slump. Lester, thank you for the video. It helped me get through a really rough time of my life. Lester, thank you for the video. I needed that today. Lester, thank you for the video. You all know that those are what drive me. Those kind of emails and those comments and those handwritten letters, those are what drive me. And it makes me to where I have a mission. That's how what's the word I'm looking for? That's how I put a value on what I do. And every man and every woman needs to find a way to ask yourself, what do you do for this world to make it a better place? And so that's what I begin to do, is say, well, you know what? If I can have a video that's going to make an autistic child laugh, if I can create a video that's going to make someone get a giggle when they haven't laughed in a month, when you can put out a video to make someone have an escape from losing a loved one or from whatever medical issues they're dealing with. And so I made it my mission, and my mission keeps me pretty busy, to get out there and make a lot of videos. Some are not the same as others. Some obviously you can take to heart and feel good about, and others are a little bit, you don't really see what my intended goals were, obviously, on many of them. But I'm sitting there watching Ann's videos, and I'm falling in love with this creator. And so to me, I didn't care how many subscribers she had, or how many followers she had, or how many likes, or how many views. What I needed was that message. What I needed to hear was that message. And so I told Jamie, I says, Jamie, I'm going to try to share. I'm going to share her. I'm going to share her with you. That meaning all of you. And so I did. I came home from that conference with Ann's email. Those are for me. I came home from that conference with a simple email, and I emailed Ann, and I says, if you don't mind, I want to talk more about you. And Ann is a very humble lady. She's a few years older than I am, but man, she has just so much knowledge. And I spent a couple of days making a video talking about Ann. I posted that video yesterday, and I was so happy to see some of you guys had jumped over right away. And Ann was telling me last night that you guys a lot of y'all are going back to look at some of her old content. And she was embarrassed because as a video creator, you learn and you get better as you go along. And Ann was saying how some things that she learned from the conference, she's going to start incorporating into her videos. And so she hopes to grow. And I says, Ann, you're going to make me grow. You're going to help me grow. And here we sat with the I don't want to brag because pride cometh before the fall. You do know that expression. So you're not bragging, but we're sitting here with 1.7 million folks on Facebook that hang around with us sometimes. And we got the thousands and hundreds of thousands on YouTube. And we have a platform that I want Ann to jump in on, because you folks can learn, and you can learn to cope, and you can learn to deal with the hardships, I think, by having someone who can put things into words that you can relate to. And that has always been my struggle. But I really do love Ann. That's crazy to say that you love somebody and you've just met them. But I always talk about how it's nice to have a light that shines, and how my grandfather, who's passed away, he had a light like Ann does, and that light would shine, and people were drawn to him because of that light that shined. And how funny it was, my Peepat, his wife, who was the one that would run us all away. We'd all come to Pawpaw, old Pops, because we loved that light that shined, and Peepat ran us the hell out. Yeah. So if you all have a chance, and I told Ann, I'm not going to sit here and tell my people to go subscribe and go like, but I'm going to introduce them to your page, and they can do what they want. I actually joked about it. I said, I don't want to lose you all. I do not want to lose my audience. That would be horrible if I end up saying, hey, y'all go watch Ann Dale. All of a sudden Ann Dale blows up and I lose everybody. I have nobody anymore because you're getting all that you need from Ann. But I'm joking, obviously. I am joking, obviously. But I will say it again. If you find yourself in a place and you need an escape, a temporary escape, you need a fellowship, you need a friend to talk to, you want to share your story, Ann did that for me. And so I appreciate Ann. Now, I'm not trying to say that any of the other creators were any less special, but everyone knows that there's sometimes that we're drawn to certain people, and Ann drew me in. And so I wanted to take a moment to introduce her yesterday in a video, and then of course talk a little bit about her today. But Ann Dale Homestead, and she is available on Facebook and on YouTube. So you don't have to go looking around trying to find her on different platforms. You can use whatever platform you're more comfy with and check out her videos. So that was really the two things I wanted to talk about during my live. Now I'm going to read a couple of your questions. What's it say? Oh my God, I'm so tickled about the ostrich with us today. Yeah, so she's still over here. That's Debbie. And Debbie doesn't really know what she wants to do. Debbie's not real sure what she wants to do. Right now, we have Courtney out here to do our horse's hooves. Courtney's come by to do the horse's hooves, the horse and the donkey. Don't forget, we have a donkey. And so that's what's going on outside. I need to probably get out there and make sure that Carl's not going to be an issue or a threat to the ladies. He's running around the yard loose. And as you know, Carl does not do well with strangers, even though if you notice the thumbnail for this video on YouTube, the thumbnail was a picture that Carl took with all of the electricity guys a couple of weeks ago. So how crazy is it to think that he could be this way one day and then another way a couple of days later? which once again puts that all on me to be more understanding and responsive and to notice things that I sometimes were overlooking. So how do you tell Tina and Debbie apart? So how do you tell Tina and Debbie apart? How do you tell the babies apart anymore? So Amanda, obviously I'm here with them every day, so it's easier for me. But Tina reminds me of Tina Turner, which is funny because Ann Dale has one of her tomato plants that she named Tina Turner. The same way that I have names for all of my babies, Ann names a lot of her plants. She names her plants based on their characteristics. And so Tina, our Tina the ostrich, has kind of a wild hairdo. And you remember Tina Turner would sometimes do all these wild, crazy hairdos. And if you ever notice our Tina ostrich, her hair is darker. Her feathers or her plumage is a lot darker, and it's always kind of spiked up and crazy looking. And so she's also a dab smaller than everybody else. She's younger. She's a couple of months younger than the other ostriches. And so that's how I know who is Tina. She's also very introverted, so she's always slow to react. And I'm just making sure that everyone's okay out there because I have to make sure that everyone's safe out there before I can focus over here. So yes, she's also a bit introverted, so she's very slow to move up and do things. Now, obviously, Wanda wears the blue band around her leg because she was the rescue. She was the one that had the frostbite, and that her owner thought that she would never be able to get around. And boy, has she made a believer out of us. She can fly. She can, well, not fly. She can run. She can dance, and she can out dance all of them. She is a dancing queen, and so she's easy. Debbie is the lighter skinned or the lighter toned feathers. She's also the largest of our birds. She was Carl's number one last year, but a lot of us feel like Wanda is slowly taking over that role. And how does that happen? I don't know, but maybe Wanda has become more confident this year. And so she stepped up, and now Debbie is going to have to kind of take a back row seat to Wanda, who I believe will be our newest first wife, if you will. And then as far as the babies go, Tat is obviously, he stands a foot taller than everybody else. Tat's easy to tell apart. Now, Charlie is several inches smaller, and he's the other male. Charlie is several inches smaller, not feet, but his whole body frame is small. He's a small bird. He was the last one born, and I wouldn't call him a runt, but he's when you see them together, it's easy to see he's much smaller than the others. And then so the middle child would be Sue, and Sue is a little female. So that's a good question. And ultimately, it's easier when you're around them all the time. It's the same way when you have, twins or people who look alike around you. You kind of get to know them once you know them. What's over here? We were told my four-year-old was going to die from her cancer, stage 4. She is like Wanda and proved everyone wrong. Becky, that's a beautiful story. And obviously, when you get to a stage 4 in cancer, that usually means terminal. It means you're probably not going to be able to come back from that. But what a beautiful story. And I would love to know more about her story, Becky. If you would email me and tell me a little bit about that, I would love that. And Becky, if I could make her a video, I don't know if she watches videos or not, but I love doing an occasional cameo video for somebody who could use one. So if you send me an email, Becky, and let me know any information, I would love to do that. And in my cameos, I always put animals. I can't do one in selfie mode. I always have to let the animals have all the spotlight. In saying so, I felt like a total ass this week. There was a very kind lady who reached out to me because she wanted to do something special for her mom for her birthday. Her mom's name is Madi, and Madi had been going through a little bit of a rough time, and her daughter said that her mom gets her biggest smile of the day, the number one thing that she looks forward to every day, is watching her I'm a Survivor or her Longhorn Lester videos. And so that touched me. And so I asked her who her favorite animals were. And so she told me it was Tex, it's Carl, and Cornholio. So my plan was to walk out to all three of her favorites and do a small, 20-second cameo and just email it back to her. Nothing to put on the page, but just so her mom could wake up on her birthday and have a special thank you. And if I did not come back from our conference, her birthday was on Sunday. I think it was Monday, we had the Carl incident. Tuesday, I get on my email and I realize that I missed that lady's birthday. I missed her birthday. And did I feel like a total ass? So I emailed right away and I sent the snippet that I had recorded, and I apologized profusely about how upset I was that I let somebody down. And the sweet daughter says not to worry. Her mom had a good birthday, and she was very appreciative of what I did send, which was just a little snippet with me and Tex wishing her a happy birthday. So I love doing stuff like that. It does take time, and I can't do it for everybody, guys, but I can't do it with everybody. And so I'm going to see if I can find anything else to talk about before I go out and help the ladies with the horse grooming. No one knows but the man upstairs. A friend of mine was sent home and told to get her affairs in order because her liver was failing. She's alive and healed after 8 years. Susan, that's a beautiful story as well. And yeah, sometimes you can't always trust what doctors say. I mean, medicine can tell you a lot. Medicine can give you directions to go in your life if you have an issue. And counselors can help you if you're having things going on here. I know that for a fact. But people find the human body can do amazing things when it has to. And I mean, that just kind of goes right back to what my human body. Now, I'm a 50-year-old beat up man, and my human body was able to do things that I didn't know it can do when I was faced with a life or death situation with Carl. But those are very inspiring stories. And I hope those kind of stories are what give people hope. And many times that's all you need is a glimmer of hope, guys. You need something to hold on to. And that's why having kids that you're close to and maybe family or friends are so important to you, which is why I'm so blessed to have you. I will say, and most of you guys already know this, I will say that I've had some struggles with family affairs, and we don't always have the same close-knit family that
we're gonna crash your live.
Oh boy, y'all come say hi. So I already said that Courtney and Tegan were here to do hooves.
Well,
and
Ringer said that he had to have his feet done.
You did the horses?
Oh yeah. Horses, donkeys?
No, horses.
She's a pony.
She's a pony. She thinks herself to be a horse.
So we've been to Ima, and now we're here, and then we're heading back to our place.
So Courtney has been to I'm a Survivor. Did Jake help you at all?
Yeah, Jake helped me. I got Jake to pick up a foot
Here,
on
get
Voodoo.
a chair and come sit down with me over here.
I got Jake to pick up a foot on Voodoo.
Come on, Tegan.
And rasp a little bit.
Now, one of y'all are going to be blurry because I have a broken camera.
Oh, no.
So one of y'all will have come on, Tegan, you want to be in a video? So this is Courtney. She is our horse farrier, and she can do it all. And this is Tegan. You have to sit down. And this is her. She's become your number one sidekick since your wife is pregnant.
Yes, Tegan is my right hand.
How long until
4 weeks.
Ashley pops?
4 weeks.
4 weeks? And we're going to lose our farrier.
No, I'll still be doing this.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Because everything's going to change. Here comes Tilly. You watch out for her.
Oh, we heard about Tilly.
Because Tilly will knock your kneecaps out. You don't want to.
Hi, Tilly.
Y'all are too young and pretty to walk around like me.
Lester, I hate to tell you, but we already got bad knees and backs.
You already have bad knees and back. If you could ever go back, everyone's saying congratulations, Courtney.
Oh, thank you.
If you could ever go back and do it again, what would you change, Courtney? What would you change? You've lived the farm and ranch life. You've lived in bunk houses. You've learned on the job. And now you say, how old are you?
30.
At the age of 30, you already have bad legs and back. And that's certainly from the lifestyle that you've lived.
I wouldn't change anything unless it was all worth it to me. I'd say run faster.
That's a good one. I don't know if you heard, but I was attacked by Carl this week. So
I heard that you were attacked.
I would have ran faster, except my shorts had fallen down around my ankles. I wasn't wearing a belt, and I don't have the ass that y'all have. So when I took off to run, my shorts went right down to my ankles, and I'm like, a man cannot run with his shorts around his
Lester,
ankles.
you should have left the shorts and just took off in your drawers.
Well, the funny thing is, my shorts come off, yet my Crocs stayed on, and they weren't. And
the
the
real
Crocs,
cowboy way.
the Crocs were not even in sport mode, and they stayed on my feet somehow. So crazy, crazy, crazy. It was a fight for my life. Thank you for saying that, because I talked about it earlier in the live. Courtney, tell us your most dangerous experience ever in farrier work, and was it actually your fault once you realized later?
Oh no. Okay, so actually
Say it nice and loud.
the most dangerous thing that's ever happened to me was I was in a barn alley and somebody had bought a horse and they had it for about 2 weeks, and they told me that this horse was super well mannered and did everything. And she ended up kicking me into the wall, and then the owner did not take control of the horse and stop her. So she actually kicked me in the square of my back and crushed a disc in my back.
Oh my gosh. You got kicked twice.
Twice.
And one of them actually injured your back.
Badly.
And has that pain ever gone away, or
No,
will you
it's
always
still
struggle?
to this day. It's all like sometimes when if I ride a rough horse, or if we're trimming 10 horses a day, it's definitely you feel it. Oh, it swells up tremendously. And it wasn't in a way, it was my fault because I put myself in the barn alley.
Yeah.
And I don't do that anymore. I will not trim inside anything very narrow. I won't trim inside stalls unless I'm completely comfortable. And then I didn't have.
I mess with her. I always mess with her.
What were you looking at?
She's
Oh, the cats.
They're playing, and I wanted to.
I'm going to ask you the same question, Tegan. You've been working with Courtney for how long? Has it been more than a year?
Tegan hasn't gotten really hurt ferrying, but she has gotten hurt riding.
So what was your worst experience? Because I know she lost a horse. That was a horrible emotional
that was the
experience.
worst. That was the worst
horse.
injury.
We were out on a trail ride, and he fell on top of me.
How did you fall?
He just
Loose
tripped.
soil?
He
Tripped.
just tripped.
Were y'all running?
Nope, we
just
were walking.
Just walking along,
Yeah.
and he slipped and
Yes.
rolled over on you.
Yes.
I'm
Ouch.
telling you, horses, if they are some of the clumsiest animals I've ever met. Because I've had them fall asleep on top of me while I'm trimming them. And then they'll unlock their
Oh,
knees
no.
on accident and just collapse on top of me.
Yeah, I've been known to do that when Jamie's working on my toes or my fingernails too. So it can happen. All right. Well, we appreciate y'all, and we thank y'all for
We're heading back to the
say
ranch.
hi.
We're still getting moved in, but
Good.
we're
Okay.
almost there.
A lot going on in y'all's lives, then.
So y'all got to come out and ride with us. When
I
we're,
can't wait. I just need something gentle to ride.
Oh, well, we got it. So
I need a donkey.
Jamie said she wants the biggest horse we have.
Oh my God.
She said, I'll take the biggest horse you have. And I said, all right.
All right. Well, good. Thank you all.
All right,
ladies.
listeners, good
We're
seeing you.
blessed to have you. We're blessed to have you. And we're very blessed to have good people in our lives. And Courtney is one of those that we ran across by chance. She was not recommended to us. We just found her on Craigslist or Marketplace. And I will say that, and I've said this before, I have just said all kinds of things about Courtney, how blessed we are to have her as a part of our life and the things that we've learned from her. And yeah, so she and her wife are expecting a baby in 4 weeks. And so, boy, is her life going to change. We've not seen Ashley since she got pregnant. And so now I don't think that Courtney allows Ashley around the horses because of the possible threat. Guys, I have kept you for a very long time, and I apologize for that. But I do want to answer a couple of more questions before I let you go. I didn't really have a whole lot. I just wanted to make sure we talked about Carl and the incident, remind you of the video of the 4 videos that we have on camera, along with the one where Ellie was attacked by Carl, which was not caught on camera, and remind you that all of those, when Rick broke them down, they were always our fault. So we are the ones who have to learn. And I did not say this yet, but I wanted to say what Rick's number one worry is. And this is so true. I may have already said this. Rick's number one worry is that every time an animal, quote unquote, attacks, people's first instinct is to put the animal down, put the animal down. And so that would be the worst thing ever if for some reason we do something foolish, Carl ends up reacting, yet everyone sees Carl as the threat, and he's the one that can no longer exist in this earth because that would just be a huge mistake on our part, because Carl did everything right, and I'm very proud of him. And so here's a good one, since this just happened. Dana Hall says, how is Ringo doing? So Dana, I want to talk a couple of things about the goats in general. Our weather is cooling off. We're no longer getting those high 90s or 100-degree temperatures, triple digits. It's still staying humid. Our drought, even though we are still officially well below the water line or the water level, the rain levels, whatever, we're still in a drought. But I'm a Survivor and Longhorn Lester's has gotten enough rain to where our grass is nice and green again. And so I kept telling you guys that sometime in the month of September, I'll start taking animals back over. And I want to ask you all a question. I want to ask you a question. And I want you to be honest with yourself and be honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. How many of y'all think that we would be wiser to leave the goats here or return the goats to I'm a Survivor? Knowing what you know about the fields and the fact that we're unable to rotate pastures, we're unable to let our pastures naturally heal themselves, the fact that we have nothing to forage on, which should be a large part of their diet. Unfortunately, we only have grass over there. And so if there's any foraging to be done, it is an extra chore that has to be required. So I've been very curious about what you guys think, because ultimately I always say this: we make videos, but we make them for you. You are our boss. We work for you, because if it weren't for you, then we would be nothing. We could not survive. We could not afford to live on making videos that no one wants to watch. And so even though we can't always make you happy, we try to find ways to at least listen to your concerns. And so what I'm seeing now, and I want a lot of y'all to look at these comments, is most of the people are saying, leave the goats at Longhorn Lester's, leave the goats at Longhorn Lester's, leave the goats at Longhorn Lester's. Someone says half and half. Okay. And so I think that once Annie has her baby, I don't think that she will necessarily need the goats. I think that she will be consumed with raising her child. And I just wonder what's in the best interest of the babies. Now, there's going to be folks, and I can't read all the comments, but they're going to say, I'm a Survivor is not the same. I'm a Survivor is quite boring without some of the animals. And all I can say to that is that's our fault, because some of the animals that remain at I'm a Survivor are the true legends. They are the true rescues who started the page. And so maybe if we find ourselves not paying as close attention to some animals and you would like to see more of them, those would be ideas. But it is kind of an insult to the amazing animals at I'm a Survivor when you say that I'm a Survivor is boring. Those videos you don't watch them anymore because those are boring. So we will have to learn to include the animals more. Right now, we're involved in a family fence building project, and so that's consumed a lot of our time. And but in particular, let's talk about Ringo now. So a lot of y'all, I would say, just by looking at the comments that I can read, there's the majority of the folks are saying, leave the goats at Longhorn Lester's for their well-being, But now we have to talk about Ringo, because Ringo's situation is a little bit different. Ringo has knee issues. Babe, come sit and talk with me. Jamie has 10 minutes before she has to join a Zoom call which means I have to get off the internet before her Zoom because we cannot share internet here.
I'm so sweaty. I'm sorry.
You might want to put those on.
Oh,
Come close as you can so you're not going to be blurry.
I'm okay with being blurry. I'm
So-
really sweating gross right now.
So I was talking about it's September. This is the month that we had plans to send at least some of the goats back to I'm a Survivor. But in particular, we need to talk about Ringo because there's a lot of people, I would say, just by me rounding up or guesstimating, about 80-90% say it's foolish to move the goats. They're living their best life here. They're all healthy and they're fat and they're doing it without any grains. And that's every farmer's ultimate goal, is to wean yourself from grains. The same way we don't want to have these sugars in our bodies, we have to wean our animals off the grains. There's nothing more healthy for any animal than what God provides. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
And here at Longhorn Lester, God provides everything for these goats. They're living their best and healthiest lives. But Ringo struggles with the hills.
He does.
Ringo struggles with the hills. So how does someone bring Ringo back,
But nobody else.
but no one else?
That's not going to work.
And that's not going to work.
No.
So when we sit down and talk about it, we know that for Ringo's best interest, he has to come back. But we have to also bring others along with him, or else he's going to feel like
yeah, that he's
demasculated, like he was not a good enough of
Yeah.
a leader,
like he's like,
and
oh,
he's
we'll
been
just-
replaced.
Yeah, he needs a herd.
He needs a herd. Yeah, goats are herd animals, and he needs a herd. So we will have to do a lot of talking about that and a lot of thinking, but that will happen fairly soon. I think that we've been here long enough that our pastures are looking great. I've gone out and mowed. You can talk about anything if you want to. I've gone out and mowed, and I've mowed all of the nasty stuff out, and hopefully the grass. Jamie has planted a lot of things. What have you planted? What are those things coming up?
I planted red clover and now white clover.
Red and white clover.
And then we will also plant ryegrass probably in October.
In October, we plant ryegrass, and then around the pond, that fella has planted all kinds of stuff that's growing great. And we made sure he planted things that were a goat's favorite. So we will have enough to feed a few, some of our goats, but they'll still need the foraging aspect of their diet. So Ringo will have to go back, and so we'll have to do a lot of soul searching and think to ourselves.
We'll have to go through everybody. The first one that comes to mind is old Nanny Goat,
Old
right?
Nanny Goat.
And it's just because of the hills. Like, she actually does okay out here, but I can notice when you go for walks with her that she's pretty slow for a day or two afterwards. And I think it's obviously Pickles will go back to Bree because I think he also
Oh
struggles a
no!
lot.
Pickles and Elfie will for sure go with Bree, and she'll have her goat yard. But-
I think through Pebbles, like I've watched Pebbles' demeanor really change out here, and I think that she really felt like a powerhouse back in I'm a Survivor. And we just have a lot to talk about, and it'll also depend on how the fall looks. Tilly ain't leaving.
Tilly is not leaving. That's
Speaking
Tilly.
of Tilly,
That's Tilly right there, knocking shelves over. Tilly is not leaving. Tilly may not want to be a goat, but she is completely content to be a dog, and she's learning to be one of our guardians. You cannot pull up this hill without her running out to see who's here.
you want to know something interesting about Tilly that I've noticed? I haven't even told you.
Tell me.
So our dogs don't use the restroom in the shop here. Our dogs are very good about, they go out to the rocks. They have a place. They have places.
You're going to
right?
say something that I made a video of this morning.
Nuh-uh.
I swear to God, I did. I swear on the Holy Bible. I'm going to tell you what happened, and then I want to hear your story. I pull up this morning, and the dogs, which is Tilly and Fiona, come running.
Millie and Fiona.
Sorry, Millie and Fiona come running out. Tilly's right behind them. Once they greet me, I sit down and I love them all. They all go to pee and poop. Well, the dogs
Tilly
only pee.
hasn't mastered both sides of it. That's what I was gonna say. But she goes outside to pee with the dogs.
No. Look at the rocks. Walk along the rocks and look at all the spots where she's beginning to poop. She's learning. The dogs are teaching her where to use the restroom.
I would love that.
And the barn is a lot cleaner now because of that, the shop here. So Tilly has to stay, y'all. She was given.
But the thing is you and I couldn't have trained her to do that.
No, she
That's
was
from
trained.
being with animals that are doing those things. And if you remember, Journey did it because of Pig Newton.
Yes.
Journey got potty trained by a pig.
And now Tilly's being potty trained by 2 dogs. I just think that's incredible because goats are not
Animals
potty trainable.
are incredible. I'm a Survivor looks empty. You need to add new animals. So all I would say about that is the fact that we don't want to overdo it, because what we had before was too much.
Yeah.
Guys, don't forget, we do not own I'm a Survivor. That's not Lester and Jamie. That belongs to my dad. And so we also have flooding issues at I'm a Survivor. We have flooding issues.
And we're in hurricane season right now, so we're being very cautious about the timing of going back based on what's going on, and really just trying to be strategic to not wear down the pastures again to the state that they were. Now, don't get me wrong, the drought helped with that. The drought was a big component, but these goats are healthier than they've ever been, and we just have to be strategic about who goes back and who stays. And it doesn't mean that we can't rotate out either, but some of the goats are just not going to do well here with the terrain. Heck, I don't do so great with the terrain some days. Poor Courtney and T were coming up from the barn. They're like, it doesn't look this hilly on video. I'm like, I told you.
They're having a hard time.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to answer a couple more questions, baby. Thank you for joining me. And
all right,
I'll be off here in just a second. I promise. I know you got to get your stuff done.
Bye, y'all.
Well, guys, I don't really know exactly where to go from here. I think that for the most part, we discussed some pretty big talking points. Make sure if you have a chance, if you've not done so yet, you can go say hi to Ann Dale. It's Ann Dale Homestead, ANNE. Dale is DALE. And then I'm going to address one last thing for the thousands of folks who are still watching. And this broke my heart yesterday. I'm going to take my hat off. No, I'm not taking my hat off. It broke my heart yesterday when someone suggested that I was doing this video and this shout out to Ann Dale just to make money for myself, because supposedly big page influencers will do that. They'll give shout outs for money. And listen to me, I'm giving you my word that is not the case. We did not accept a penny for our participation at the conference. Jamie and I paid for our own flights over. We paid for our own hotel room. We paid for our own meals, besides the one that the conference provided. We did not eat off any of the card that was used. Jamie took off work, and we are not money motivated. And I understand how a lot of channels are money motivated. There were creators there that are trying to video create to make money. And I think I told you guys that I got emotional at the conference one time. I tried to hold it together the best that I could. But there was one moment when I got a little bit emotional, because this kind lady sitting towards the back of the room, when it was time for the question and answers, she's like, okay, so all of y'all have spoken and you've all mentioned about how hard it is and how much time it takes. And she, went on, and it's true. So what she was doing was listing all of the hardships of being a social media creator, especially giving the time that it takes to be successful at it. And we each had a chance to kind of talk about that. And during my spiel, it was remembering before I was a creator, remembering what I was going through with the post-Harvey stuff, and remembering how it was complete strangers. I talked about the complete strangers on Facebook who came to my rescue and who were there every night when I couldn't sleep, when my fears and my worries consumed me. It was these sweet, sweet people who came to encourage me and to build me up. And ultimately, those people made it possible for us to get through some very daunting tasks in the rebuild of the barn dominium, giving myself a place to live when I lost my home. And the page continued to grow. They begin to fall in love with the animals that we fell in love with. Can y'all see how this ostrich over here has Tina Turner type feathers? That's Tina. She looks different. She's darker and her feathers are all fluffy weird. That's Tina Turner hair type stuff. So that's Tina. But and so as I was retelling that story and talking about how I do this to give back, it's not to receive, it's to give. I know that sounds foolish, but it's true. And so doing something kind for Anne is my way of doing something kind for you. And so I believe that many of you will get something from her. I want not a penny. I don't even need recognition. I just want Anne to be able to share her gift with you all, which is the world. And so in saying so, I'm going to go ahead and turn around and love these babies for a little while. And they're probably ready to be fed up. And I'm blessed that no one nibbled on me when I was here. I got one little bite in the back and one down by my lower back. But besides that, my ears are still good and I'm fine. I didn't even cry. So, wow, that would be a successful live. Thank you all for watching. And we will remember that the videos that you're going to see today, the one that I posted before this was the raw videos. And we, of course, apologize for our language, but the language happened during a moment when we were unable to control the things that came out of our mouths or our bodies. I'm joking. All right. We love you all and we will catch you next time. Okay. Don't forget, Jamie and I will be back Sunday with you all for our 3 o'clock live.